Hey there everyone, this is Evil of Monkey here to bring you the patch breakdown for the first anniversary patch. This is the hotfix 1.2.22 for anyone who's curious. This is a pretty big balance patch, that is the main focus of it, and we'll also have some anniversary events in here. Now this is the first of a few different patches that we'll be going through to balance out Descendants, guns, and then also we'll have another one in August that will I think do a combination of the two. This one is the Descendant balance patch with the idea to bring Descendants in line with Inez and Serena. And there's some pretty big changes in here that will definitely reorder the power rankings of our characters. So let's just hop right in. So the first character in this balance patch update is Valby, and she gets a lot of damage up here, skill power going up for plop plop and cleanup, but the real buff here is the movement speed buff. So if you guys don't know, Valby kind of had one really big weakness. By kind of mean she had one really big weakness, and that's the fact that her tidal wave or her cleanup skill both would actually cause you to have a fixed movement speed. And this was actually under what you could get with guns. So this is why if you were playing Valby and you just wanted to be in your cleanup mode permanently, this is why you always fell behind. Was because you got fixed at 1000 movement speed. Now you'll have your base movement speed that you had with your gun, but an additional 300, which goes huge with this update since movement speed, max speed got increased. So you may actually not only keep up with Descendants now, but be faster than them. The other reason this is really huge is because how Valby works is, as you're traveling, you leave a puddle trail, and enemies walk over and get damage. But it takes some time to spread it around because it's only as fast as you can run. Well, now you're faster, you can spread it all around a lot quicker. This helps so freaking much. Now you'll be able to cover a much wider range and be able to hit more enemies. Which kind of say the same thing there, but still, this is huge. Also, supplying moisture now gives 25% additional damage. So increase your modifier by 25%. Actually, it's multiplicative, so it's not really additional, but going from 10 to 35. And now you also get firearm explosives damage up, which is okay. I guess it just increases your range of weapons you can use. But Valby definitely needed this improvement. She'll do more damage now, and can do a wider range of damage since she can throw her puddle out quicker. Next up is Blair. Now, I was super excited for Blair, because for anyone who doesn't know, I've been a Blair main since month 1. He's probably one of my most played Descendants in the entire game. And this balance patch fixed a lot of issues that he had with his old kit and some of his current kit. So one of the biggest things is Extinguish went from 2 seconds to 1 second. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, this is how you get yourself buff with Flame Zone, you get your mana back. This is incredible. A lot of his abilities also got movement speed changes from 100 to minus 20%. So this is really big, especially for Deadly Cuisine, or at least truly Deadly Cuisine, because what would happen is he would take the giant fireball and you would just start slowly walking forward and everyone would just run away. This is especially what happens during Ice Maiden fight and why she's almost impossible to use the giant fireball from truly Deadly Cuisine, is because she just runs away from you and you just throw it and it lands like 3 feet in front of you, and she just is laughing, ha 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 ha, loser, you can't hit me. And that, it sucked. But now, you, with truly Deadly Cuisine, actually can move. With only minus 20%, that's so much better. Also, your projectile speed got increased by 100%, meaning you throw that thing like a fastball now. Holy crap. Ice Maiden's going down with this build now. It also got a 5,000% improvement. It already did a whole lot of damage, and holy crap, it's going to do so much more. I do have a build. I haven't come out with a video for it yet, but it is a very low cooldown, truly Deadly Cuisine build. I'll have to make a video for you guys on that one. It's a pretty fun build, and you can spam your ulti. I think it's every 8 to 12 seconds. It's pretty efficient. Outside of that, Black Draft got an improvement as well. It got a 4 times improvement. Holy crap, that's insane. They also got Firearm Explosion. It seems like they're trying to level out Firearm Explosion and Firearm increases, which it's okay with Blair. I guess this means your Sword Relic will be better on him, which I'm fine with. It did also fix one of the largest issues we had with Extinguish, which was... So for anyone who doesn't know, the Gun Blair build had the flaw of every, like, so-and-so seconds, you had to spend like 3 to 5 seconds rethrowing out your flame wells and pulling back using Extinguish to get your buffs. 5 seconds cuts a lot into your DPS time, especially when compared to like Hailey or Serena, who don't really have to do any kind of waiting for their stuff. I mean, Hailey gets slowed, but definitely Serena just didn't have any of the issues. So, with skill time cast time reduction, this helps so much. Now you'll have a higher DPS window and a lower, downtime. Outside of that, I mean, it's just mainly movement speed, which fixes a lot. The only other issue Blair still has with his old modules is flame wells aren't mobile. That's what his ultimate transients fixed a lot, was the fact that his flame wells became mobile with him effectively. So I think this will help him a lot with his older builds, but it still doesn't fix the flame wall issue. But he is so much better now. I think he'll be amazing against bosses. And this will probably be a lot better in Season 3. Only because Season 3 it'll be a wide open map, so you'll be running around a lot more instead of just going like in a straight line like in a dungeon. So it will be really good for Season 3. Ah yes, Sharen, another character I've really enjoyed lately with her area suppression module. Now this one's a little interesting because they gave her a lot of movement speed increases. I don't feel like you're really using active camouflage for your movement speed too much. I mean, it's a nice change, but it's not anything really game breaking. I do think the number stats going up are huge. I mean, Shock Nuts went from 288 to 949%. Holy crap. Also, area suppression going from 184.5% to 252 doesn't seem like much, but you also gotta remember, with area suppression, you're throwing out several swords at once, and each one is getting that increase because it's per sword. That's actually a huge buff. That's an incredible amount of damage. You're gonna one-shot a lot of bosses. Not Colossi, but probably most bosses can get one-shot by Sharen now. That's just a guess, but... or at least two-tapped. I do have a Sharen build. I will, once again, kind of like the Blair, I never actually released the video for it. I should. But yeah, this is pretty insane. I do think Cutoff Beam will be a lot better. That is a pretty good change. Once again, Shock Nuts going up is also insane. That's a huge spike in damage. I don't know why they really buffed that ability so much instead of her other abilities, but oh, I'll take it. Anyway, Sharon's definitely a lot better now. I think the Spin to Win build will just go insane now. I don't think she will become God tier, but I feel like she will be definitely solid for Season 3. Not someone I expected to see in this list, but definitely needed some buffs. Enzo. So he got a new ability on his start supply, which is grants quick reload upon supplying bullets, which is increased by 60%. That's kind of huge. Though there are guns that do have reload speed caps, so I wonder how this works with it. If it still works against that cap, or if it doesn't, that's something we'll have to test eventually. But it's a pretty good buff. I mean, he is centered around guns mainly and buffing allies, so this is definitely a good one. For Drone Explosion, not bad. I mean, you don't really ever use anything like his abilities for damage, like skill power. You almost exclusively use him to buff guns, so this is okay. I don't think it's that great. Foul supply amount getting increased is nice. Once again, Drone Explosion, meh. This one, Concentrated Fire, is actually kind of interesting now. That increases your critical hit rate by 0.2% of your shield. I don't know if you can actually hit this max yet, but it's up to 70%. I think probably the best one here is Start Supply, because his best build historically has been the I give my allies 100% crit rate build. And since you can do that build with a really high cooldown, just spamming that out and having a permanent buff for reload modifier on top of that is probably going to go insane. I don't think it'll be good with like Serena because she doesn't really want to ever touch the ground, but it's probably good with other characters who really want the crit rate. There's some Gley Buffs down the line, and well, I guess Gley doesn't really want reload speed, but Enzo will probably work really well with the Gley Buffs because she'll have some crit damage buffs, I believe they were, down the line. And we'll get to the Gley later though. But yeah, this will definitely be good for certain characters. I don't think this is going to bring Enzo to the front line at all, being top meta. I don't think he can beat out Luna as the top support. But this is nice, and I'm assuming we'll eventually see more Enzo buffs down the line. So Hailey buffs were just, wow, they really wanted her to be better. So now her cryogenic or cryo rounds, sorry, I almost called them cryogenic rounds. Same thing though. Got increased from 50% additional damage to 200% damage. Now, if you guys don't know how that works, that basically is anything that gets hit with cryo rounds and then gets hit by Hailey afterwards gets whatever damage that second hit would have done plus 50% more. Well, now that's 200% more. That is actually crazy insane. Also, her Super Cooper round module and Zenith and Cryogenics shot module are also all getting buffs. And Zenith and Super Cool Coupler round module, god, that is a mouthful to say, went from 25% increase to 150, and Zenith went from 50 to 200%. That is going to be a lot of damage. Now, for people who don't know, Hailey was at one point the one-all be-all boss-killing champion until Serena came out, and then Serena, kind of took over that throne. With this, I'm thinking Hailey may take the throne back. These are crazy stats. Hailey wasn't even that far behind Serena in all honesty. I mean, Serena definitely eclipsed her, but these buffs, I think, make Hailey viable again. The only thing slowing Hailey down is, ironically, her being slow, that she slows herself down with her ability. But we may see a rise in the crit meta again, with Hailey becoming this powerful. I mean, wow, these buffs are insane. They really wanted Hailey to be meta for Season 3. She is going to be a boss killer again. So these are buffs I'm kind of actually worried about. The bunny buffs. So the reason I'm worried about it is, for anyone who didn't play when the game first launched, in Season 0, we were in the bunny meta. And this is before Freyna became as powerful as she was. This is before Nez got released, before Serena got released, before Hailey got released. Everyone was running bunny for dungeons, wave clear, anything where you had to kill a bunch of trash mobs. Now the issue was, when bunny first launched, when the game launched, what would happen is you'd go into a dungeon, and if you were playing a character that wasn't bunny, bunny would clear about 3 rooms ahead of you. So she was that fast, she would clear the first room. Before you get to the first room, she'd clear the second one, and by the time you reached that first room, she would be in the third room clearing it. Which means you couldn't get as many drops, and you just felt miserable because you were just walking through an empty dungeon. That is actually the whole reason weapon cores got movement speed, was to counter this. In fact, the devs have said in their stream, this is the whole reason weapon cores have movement speed, is to help negate that movement speed gap. But with this patch, they're increasing the movement speed maximum, like the maximum stat you can have for movement speed, which helps bunny. But it makes me worry that we may go back into that Season 0 meta, where if you're not running movement speed, you may just be 3 rooms back and not having fun, because, you're just running through an empty dungeon, and then you're just playing Walking Simulator, which isn't fun, unless you're playing Death Stranding. Then, that's fun. But that's fun because of the packages that you get to deliver. Anyways, off topic. We'll see how this goes. I think with Season 3 that this buff is mainly for, this may not be as much of an issue because I said they're rebalancing Season 3 to be higher tier combat. And Bunny in Season 0 also had the issue she was trash at bosses. And it seems like there's more bosses and mini bosses and elites in Season 3. So I think at this point she will just be only a trash mob killer. We'll see with this. This is a huge buff for her though, with the movement speed cap increase. And her getting additional movement speed in all of her abilities is huge because if you guys don't know, with one of her abilities, the more she moves, the faster her damage ticks. So I don't know the exact distance, but it's every so and so amount of distance she moves, her ability procs. So this is pretty huge because now if you're moving faster, you're going to proc that ability more and more and more. And this is just a huge damage increase. This was actually one of her base limiting factors in creating damage. But she did actually have a decent build with electric transmission right now. So I think she will actually go back up in, priority. I don't think she will be Inez or Freyna as much, but I think her movement speed will help close the gap a lot. And I definitely think she's a much more needed character if you want to, have a good wave clear character. Gley Buffs, she actually has legs now. In all seriousness, the Gley can run. She no longer gets the movement speed decrease, which is huge. In fact, she actually has a lot of interesting buffs here. So I only expected her to just, not have the movement speed debuff anymore. Now, actually, they increased all of her firearm attack ups. So it went from 15 to 30, and explosion went from 15 to 50. This makes sense, considering Gley is mainly used rocket launchers, and let's see, rocket launcher, Malevolent, and Last Dagger. But rocket launcher is kind of, iconic for Gley, so this makes a lot of sense. They also added critical hit rate damage going up, which is something I talked about with Enzo, that this would kind of work with Enzo, giving her 100% crit rate, which is kind of an interesting one. I don't think crit hit rate's the best stat on her always, but I guess it works with like Last Dagger, so that's fine. Usually though, Gley just wants raw damage so that she can just kind of go burr with ammo. Weak point damage makes sense because once again, Malevolent, that makes sense with that gun. This actually makes Gley really, really, really good because now she doesn't have to worry about movement speed, so she can just concentrate on damage. And the firearm stats going up as well is huge. You guys can see Super Sense module actually has even further damage. And Predator Instinct also went up. I think this will make the Gley rocket build even better. And Malevolent, I don't think you'll really care about the crit damage outside of Last Dagger, but like I said earlier in the video, there's going to be a weapon rebalance patch later in the month. So maybe with that, this may change. This is a huge one. I do think Gley has probably got one of the biggest buffs in this patch, with her now being able to move at normal speeds. And I am down to play some more Gley. This patch also brought us the Void Erosion Purge changes that reduce the maximum number of stages from 30 to 10. This is their idea to streamline it. Also, the stages now rotate, so now that 10th stage, which would have been 30th before, won't only be ice weakness. Now it'll rotate legions, so the weakness will also rotate. This will happen daily. So now you won't have to just, play one or two characters to get through that. Also, the medal has been changed here from clearing stage 30 to clearing stage 10 1,000 times. And I still think that's a ridiculous number. And Void Erosion Purge Normal has been removed from the leaderboard. It makes sense, it didn't really have any use in it being in, on the leaderboard. And then beyond that, they just did some minor fixes to improve things, improved lighting, improved terrain, and like I said, they streamlined the rewards so that you can get to stage 10 very quickly and get the same rewards you've gotten on stage 30 before. So just to give you guys a little, preview to what this actually looks like, you can see the timers up here, so only stage 10 will actually be the one rotating. All the others will stay the same, as you can see. And stage 10 will be the one rotating, so you have a little bit more variety with what you're, grinding out, so you're not just doing the same stage every single day. There's a minor update to weapon cores here. Now you can farm them 400% in Sigma sectors, but it will only be low tiers, as you guys can see here. For Sigma sector, it's only tier 1 to 3, and for 400% it's tiers 2 to 4. So it looks like still Void Erosion Purge will be the most efficient, as you can farm tiers 5 to 10 and get a lot more core amplifiers. But now you can get, like, you know, a very small amount at least from Sigma sector and 400%. So it's not that big of a change. It is nice. Also to mention, Sigma high risk is 3 to 5. But once again, Void Erosion Purge will still be the best, and the one I still recommend to farm out for weapon cores. So we touched on this a little bit during the bunny part of the video, but the movement speed for Descendants has been changed, or at least the upper limit has been changed by 300. I have mixed feelings about this, because if you don't run movement speed in your kit, that means the gap between you and someone who is going to be even bigger. So it means potentially someone with full movement speed weapon cores and movement speed built into their kit could potentially be 2 or 3 rooms ahead of you. Like I said in Season 0, there was that issue with Bunny. I don't know how I feel about this. I already feel like there is a lot of movement speed in the game. So I'm hesitant to say this is a good change. I have mixed feelings about this one, and I say this will probably be played out and see how it goes. But they may have to roll this one back. We'll see. Once again, this is just one of those things of Season 0. Bunny caused so many issues for a part of the player base. I don't know how this will go. We will see. So we'll wait and see. But it is good for Bunny and a few other characters. I'll go through this one real quick. Party had some stuff changed. This is the party finder. So renamed research materials, required materials. They reordered some stuff around. There's nothing too huge here. Oh, and they also deleted some social tags and added some few more. Nothing really huge to go over there. Just to let you guys know, in case you guys are using the party feature, some stuff did change, mainly just all the tags. So you'll have to relearn all the tags. Some minor UI and UX changes. The camera can now be rotated when doing emote previews. So this will be in shop details and in emote details. Also, you can now delete all of the stickers that you added to your photo in photo mode, or you can delete them individually. New cosmetics were added to the shop as well. Whole bunch of bundles. This is to celebrate the 1st anniversary. As you guys can see here, several things added. They also added some old bundles back that were previously removed. So enjoy all those if you want to purchase those in the store. I'm sure they'll be all over the shop. So the only other thing really announced is it's the 1st anniversary, and we have the pool and bar here. And there's also a whole bunch of good events going on. You guys can enjoy the lounge over here. It's right next to Day 0. Also, there's a whole bunch of events. Inez's 1st anniversary workshop is here. You get a whole bunch of tokens from doing all this cool stuff. You can get to this from the main menu. You have this. Don't forget there's also stuff on their webpage. So I'll put a link below the video for that, because there are events going on. And then if you guys want to take a look here, just, you know, a little preview of everything you can get from the shop, just go to Nez here. Right here. Event, and look at all these goodies. You got some stickers, some frames, some mementos, a group emote, stickers, spawn. Ooh, that spawn looks pretty cool. I'll definitely get that spawn. A whole bunch of other goodies. I definitely need this gold. I need more gold to prep for Season 3. So this is definitely good for me. So much stuff. 8 crystallization catalysts, and you have 41 days to get all these. Oh, and look, they brought back the bear backpack from Season 0, but now it has a party hat. Oh, that's adorable. So much good stuff here. So don't forget to check out all these events. They're live right now. And I will say Albion looks really good. There's also new skins. And don't forget to check out the link below the video if you want the full web page that has everything listed. Oh, this all looks so good. Let's go ahead and condense this whole patch breakdown to a short summary. So 7 Descendants were buffed. That was Blair, Bunny, Enzo, Gley, Hailey, Sharen, and Valby. I think Hailey and Gley had the best buffs. Bunnies were also pretty good. Movement speed got increased for its maximum value. The shop has new bundles. UI got changed slightly to allow you to rotate emotes in previews, such as a shop or when you're selecting your emotes. Void Erosion Purge now went from 30 stages to 10 stages with a rotating 10th stage. Party tags are getting changed a little bit, so you'll have to, update yourself on that. And then on top of that, we have the first anniversary event, so go get your rewards there. And then finally, weapon cores you can now get in 400% and Sigma Sector. And that wraps up the summary. That's going to go ahead and wrap up the patch breakdown for patch 1.2.22, or the first anniversary patch. Lots of cool stuff in this one, lots of buffs, the first anniversary event, Void Erosion Purge changes. Let me know what you guys think about all the changes down below the video with some comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Also, I stream every day on Twitch at 2 p.m. PST. I'll go ahead and throw the link down below as well. If you guys want to head over there and chat me up about First Descendant, I'm always happy to chat about this game. I love this game a lot. But yeah, I'll go ahead and wrap up there. And I appreciate y'all watching this video, and I'll catch y'all again later.